Okay, hello. Sorry about that. I had forgotten to ask for my stream key so I could stream for all of you guys. As you all know, I am your host of the day, Richie T, also known as Richard T, and I'm here to welcome you guys. We are on the verge of SCG Cleveland, and I am very excited because I will be there. And hopefully many of you will also be there to join me. So, I decided today to take the deck that I will be playing at the event and streaming it for you guys. That way, I can get more practice, you can ask me any questions you have, and we can help each other out with the list. So, let's go over my list. So, I will be playing Blue-Red Phoenix. I know that's probably a big shocker to most people. It is probably the best deck in the format. I don't think I can really argue it. And I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit more into my details. So, we have a pretty stock mana base of 18 lands, a mix between our 5 basics. We have our 6 copies of fetch lands that are always blue, between Polluted Delta, Flooded Strand, and Scolding Tarns. The reason I chose these are, I feel you have to run the 4 Tarns, because it's your blue-red fetch. And then the Polluted Deltas and Flooded Strands are the ones that can probably lead your opponent off if you cast a cantrip off them, and to them maybe thinking you're more of a control deck. On top of that, we have our 4 Spire Bluff Canals. Since we do run a light land count, we don't actually need as many lands as most decks do. So having 4 Spire Bluff Canals can help us save life in the aggressive matchups, as well as our 3 Steam Vents we can fetch out. So the next category is cantrips, and our deck is stocked full of them, as our deck is a Spell Slinger deck, where we want to be casting as many spells as possible, and in order to do that, we need things that replace themselves and put them back into our hands. We're on 12 blue cantrips between Opt, Serum Visions, and Thought Scour. They are the best, and they are the best 1-mana cantrips in Modern, and because of some of our win conditions, which I'll get to in a minute, I feel I really want to be on 12. Alongside that, we have probably one of the most powerful cards in the deck in Faithless Looting. So this card seems kind of awkward, and it's not technically a cantrip because it is card disadvantage when you first cast it. But when you're banning something like a Phoenix, or a spell that's useless like maybe a Surgical Extraction in a matchup that it's not good, or an extra land, you really turn that card disadvantage into almost a Brainstorm-esque effect, where you're sculpting your hand and sculpting your graveyard to be really whatever you want. Moving on, next we're going to cover removal. We got 4 Lightning Bolts. You wouldn't leave home without your bolts in most red decks. Even though Lightning Bolt's not great in Modern, being able to go face, along with one of our win conditions that I'll get to later, is very powerful. On top of that, we have 2 Lightning Axes, because it's very important to be able to kill Grimag Anglers or Taskers in the current format, as well as a 1 of Flame Slash, as a slight hedge towards the mirror because of the 1 blue creature we play. Moving on to utility, I'm opting to play 3 Surgical Extractions in the main deck, because Modern is really starting to get to a point where it's pretty graveyard heavy, and I just want to be able to hedge that as much as possible, and I believe Surgical is the way to do that. And then we obviously have our 4 Manamorphoses, one of the other powerful cards in the deck, as well as a free spell that replaces itself and can also fix your mana. This card's nutty. So now we're going to get onto our threats. As the deck's named after, we have 4 Arclight Phoenixes. This card sees play in every format because the reward of it is playing spells, which a lot of decks want to anyways, and when there's spells that replace themselves, it just benefits you that much more. So when I can bin it with a Faithless Looting, that turns the card disadvantage into card neutral, if not better. And it's a recurable threat, which is great against the fair decks like the green-black X, the Jesseis, the blue-whites in the format, because it can come back after they keep killing it. Our next big threat is Thing in the Ice. Now, a lot of people remember this card from Standard as a somewhat player, but not really huge. This card is insane in this deck. It hits super hard. You can flip it very fast between all of your cantrips, your free spells such as Manamorphose and Surgical. And it synergizes very nicely with Arclight Phoenix in multiple ways. How's it going, Team Forecast? Between bouncing your Phoenixes if your last spell is a Faithless Looting to give you a free discard, as well as bringing your Phoenixes back after clearing your opponent's board, which with just a Thing in the Ice flip and a Phoenix is 10 damage, which in Magic happens to be half of your opponent's life total. On top of that, we have a split of 2 and 2 on our other win conditions in the deck. First, we're going to talk about the one that's been around a little bit longer, which is Crackling Drake. I was really weirded out and not sure how I felt about this card when I first seen it, but Crackling Drake is very strong in this deck. One, it plays around Graveyard Hate because its ability also counts Exile, and it replaces itself no matter what, so it's almost a pseudo 2-for-1 no matter what. A really good comparison I heard from Ross Merriam on this card is that it's essentially 4 mana, suspend 1, win the game, because almost every time you get to the turn after, if you're hitting your opponent with the Crackling Drake, they're dying. Now, the other split we have is really for the Mirror because it is the best win condition in the Mirror and is also the most powerful when you get it online. And that's 2 copies of Pyromancer's Ascension. So in order to get this online, you have to cast 2 cards that are in your graveyard already. So say I have an Opt in the yard and I cast another Opt, that puts a counter on it. Well, once I get 2, this essentially forks all of my spells. So if I cast a Manamorphose for 2 mana, I copy it, it is add 4 mana, draw 2 cards, which is insane. Lightning Bolt becomes 1 mana, deal 6 damage, which is insane. And you just get to turn through your library so fast that there aren't many decks that can beat you if they can't get it off the board after you get it active. So, while this is one of the most recent win condition added to the deck, it probably is one of the strongest. And I've seen some lists going up to 3 with trimming like a Crackling Drake, but I'm just too big of a fan of Crackling Drake. A notable exclusion in my deck compared to most is a lot of people are running 1 to 2 Snapcaster Mages. And the reason I'm deciding not to is, again, I want to try to hedge my deck as much as I can for the Mirror. I expect to face, if I day 2 Cleveland, I expect to face the Mirror probably somewhere between 4 to 6 times. And I feel having the extra removal spell for Thing in the Ice, the extra Surgical in the main deck, as well as the extra Pyromancer's Ascension, really overlaps the need of Snapcaster Mage, where he is a very good card and very strong. I would rather hedge a slight bit more for the Mirror and also just have a little bit of removal. A little bit extra removal. So now we're going to move on to the sideboard where I feel like there's a lot of room to talk about. So first and foremost, I'm on 2 Ceremonious Rejection. I know some lists have been bouncing between 1 and 2 of this card. I really enjoy it because I feel like it hits a lot of decks that you can have trouble with between Tron, any of the Affinity decks, which I don't think are bad matchups, but it's always nice to have a little hedge for, as well as the Warp Prison deck. Being able to, on the play, counter their Chalice of the Void if they play it for 1 is huge. So that's why I'm opting to play the second Ceremonious as opposed to something like a Shatterstorm. We're on a 1-1 split between Dispel and Spell Pierce. Typically, you see 1 to 2 more of these, but I'm opting to play 2 heavy hitters in Dragon's Claws instead. My reasoning for this is I feel Control is a fine matchup, and I really just want a hard-hitting win condition because our win conditions that are 2-ofs are kind of slow against the aggro decks, to where playing a Dragon's Claw against a deck that's primarily red can really just buy you a lot of time, as well as just end the game quickly when they can't get themselves out of it. We do have some extra removal on our sideboard. We have 2 Abrades for anything from small creature decks to Affinity to Hollow One even. Abrade's just a very powerful card. It even comes in against Whir Prison because it is 2 mana, so they typically won't Chalice on 2, as well as it blows up Ensnaring Bridge slash other annoying block pieces. I have a second Flame Slash in the sideboard for the Mirror. One, because it's good with Pyromancer's Ascension to have mostly 2-ofs in your deck, or really any time, but I'm opting to have the 1-of in the main currently. But it also is just nice to have an extra removal spell for Thing in the Ice, because typically that card's very hard to deal with, and you either have to 2-for-1 yourself, and it's even harder to do that now that we're not playing Gut Shot. And I also have 2 Anger of the Gods in my sideboard. A lot of lists have been going to 1 of Ravenous Trap and 1 Anger. I really want 2 Angers because I feel our graveyard matchup's pretty good with 3 Surgicals in the main, as well as Anger being fine against the graveyard decks that aren't the Mirror. But Ravenous Trap is okay in the Mirror, but it's not excellent in my opinion. To where Anger is also good against the small creature decks like Elves, any Zoo deck, Merfolk. Spirits it's fine against, but they can grow out of it pretty fast, but it still probably comes in. As well as Bogles. I had a game where I was able to play a Blood Moon and then anger my Bogles opponent, and they just couldn't play Magic anymore. Speaking of which, we're on 2 Blood Moons in the sideboard. This originally was Alpine Moon, but when the resurgence of Amulet Titan really picked up, and everyone realized that deck wasn't dead, we decided we needed Blood Moon again. It's just such a heavy hitter in that matchup, and it's slower against Tron, but we just kind of take that. We can tempo them out with our counter spells, as well as our removal and just like bringing back a fast threat. So I think Blood Moon is the correct choice. And then the last sideboard slot, I'm on 2 Ral Izzet Viseries. A lot of lists are on 4 mana Planeswalkers and a Beacon Bolt, but I really think Ral is probably the best Planeswalker in this deck, for this deck, as well as better than Beacon Bolt for the fact that it's a Beacon Bolt that does something after you cast it and can also just double up as a win condition. So his plus is very synergistic because it can put things like Arclight in your graveyard as well as set up an Ascension. His -3 kills everything in general, like there's no creatures that really can live through it. And his ultimate will just win you the game straight up. So that's the reason why I'm deciding on 2 Rals as opposed to Young Pyromancers, Chandras, Jaces, or the Beacon Bolt. So now we're about to head into the games, but beforehand, I just want to hop over, and I'd love to give a shout out to the person that, or the place that sponsors this stream. Thoughts on Twisted Image for opposing things. Also hit 0 power dorks and some affinity creatures. I've seen some lists playing a 1 to 2 of Twisted Image. I think I like Flame Slash more because it just kills more and it seems a little bit more versatile. But I could see the fact that it's a cantrip also being very strong. So anyways, momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro.com. Make sure you're checking it out whenever you need Magic cards. This store is great. Our top selling products right now are Basic Lands, Skewer the Critics, and Oath of Teferis. But we also have many, 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 many more cards in stock. It's the one-stop shop for anything you might need. As well as it gives you links to everything Mom's Basement Games. You can check out our Twitch, which you're probably here right now. But if you're watching in the future on YouTube, make sure to check out our Twitch. If you go down to the description below, all of our links that I have on the tcgpro.com store will be there. As well as make sure you do check out the TCG Player store still. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at MomsBasementMTG. As well as, for everyone watching on Twitch right now, make sure you do check out our YouTube page. You can find content for almost every format, from Legacy to Modern to Standard. We have many, many, many great talents that stream for us, so feel free to check us out. As well, I would super appreciate it if you gave me a follow on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @RichardTMTG. Make sure to check me out. You can check out some of my more recent tweets, some of my favorite cards, And I'm really trying to be active on Twitter. So feel free to message me if you want to talk anything Magic or anything in general. But with all that being said, I think I've talked enough now. What do you guys say we get to some games? I gotta hop into a league really quick, but that will only take a second. Join the league with UR Phoenix. Use play points. Alright, here we go, guys. So who will I be seeing in Cleveland this weekend? Will I be seeing any of you guys there? If so, feel free to tell me or not tell me what you're playing. I'm not hiding any secrets here. I'd love to just talk about deck choices. Pre-release for sure. What's a pre-release for this weekend? Just gonna pop this open really quick. Okay. We won the die roll. That's pretty sweet for this deck. I'm gonna go ahead and grow our hand a little bit more. Skadoosh. So it's really awkward that we have a mountain in this hand. Otherwise, this hand would be great. But unfortunately, because of the mountain, I think we have to mulligan. No, I was talking about for this weekend in Cleveland. This hand, though, is excellent. We have a great early threat in Pyromancer's Ascension. We have our cantrips. We have some lands. We're going to go ahead and keep this. And this is actually going to be pretty sweet. I'm going to scry this Arclight Phoenix on top. And then I'm going to shock and pass the turn because I'm just going to Thought Scour. Sorry to hear that you don't have a deck for it. But you could still come by. They have plenty of other sides on like Saturdays and Sundays. Yeah, Phoenix is just definitely... It's hard to not play Phoenix. I will admit that. So now that they did that, I'm just going to go ahead and Thought Scour myself. How did they scry? Does it say? Both on bottom. We're going to pop out the graveyards. It looks like we're in a mirror match. Faithless Looting, a pretty good pickup. Surgical, really good if this is the mirror. So we have a couple options here. We could either cantrip and surgical something like your Serum Visions to get back our Phoenix. But I think I just want to set up this Pyromancer's Ascension. I think I'm just going to get a mountain here. Cast the Ascension and pass it on back to our opponent. Next turn, we can get back the Phoenix if we'd like, or we can just try to, like, dig and get this Ascension going on a lot more. Oh, it looks like they kept a one-lander. Oof. Discard Arclight Phoenix. Well, that's going to be pretty good for our Faithless Looting, or for our Surgical. So I think we're going to go ahead and start by fetching. We're just going to get a basic island here. When you cast Serum Visions, you always want to make sure you fetch first. Don't really need any more lands here. Then we'll go ahead and Faithless. We found a thing in the ice. Which I actually think I'm probably just going to discard because I like the Crackling Drake more. And we're going to go ahead and try to Surgical their Phoenixes, which will also return ours. Our opponent seems to be in the tank. They're going to choose to Surgical their own Phoenix to keep it as opposed to Surgicaling ours. They might have a second Surgical. We'll have to see. Appears not. We just get our Phoenix back. Clock them down to 12 and say go. Well, there's that second land of theirs, and they have a thing in the ice to follow it up. So we have a couple options here. We can either go to get our Pyromancer's Ascension going, or we can play a tapped land for Crackling Drake. I really don't want to take the turn off, though, so I think I'm actually just going to Faithless here. Okay, we found an Opt, which isn't that helpful. think I'm just going to discard these two. Cast Opt. Gladly take Serum Visions, which will get our Ascension active. The reason I played the Island there is if I draw a removal spell, we drew a Phoenix, which is not the best, but also not that bad. We're going to top this Bolt and just use it to kill the thing in the ice next turn, hopefully. If they do manage to get it back, though, we can probably just go face with it. Echoing Truth. Spicy. So that's kind of annoying. We really wanted our Pyromancer's Ascension. But since they did that and they missed a land drop, I almost just want to cast a Phoenix and 6 them here. I say we just put the clock on. Just hard cast the bird. Get in there. They're dead to Lightning Bolt next turn. They're dead to both Phoenixes. I don't really see how they can get out of this. So yeah, this is really showing the power of Phoenix. Ooh. Discard 2 Phoenixes. That's scary. We might just die here if they can flip this thing in the ice. Yeah. I mean, that happens sometimes. They countered the surgical, and it makes sense now that they had double Phoenix. That's some of the absurd stuff that can happen in this mirror match, though. Like, you can just die out of nowhere. So, the way I like to sideboard in this, Angers and Blood Moons are obviously not great. I don't think Dragon's Claws are worth it. Neither are Braids. Ceremonious isn't great. I do like counters. I personally take Opt Out, as weird as that sounds. It's one of our our weakest cantrip. And I'd just rather have more action, as well as I trim a Lightning Bolt. I like to leave bolts in, just because they work really well with Pyromancer's Ascension. So I'd rather just have like that synergy than have more cantrips. What do you guys think about that? Would you leave in 3 ops over the Lightning Bolts, or do you think having the bolts for Ascension is better? Yeah, that was kind of my thought, was the bolts to close the game out. Alright. Let's try to see if we can get them this time. I kind of like this hand. It's very threat dense. We do need some more cantrips to help flip these thing in the ices, but I think it's worth the keep. Even though I want these cantrips for the thing in the ice, I think I'm probably still just going to Thought Scour on 1, just to try to dig through my deck more. Yeah, that was kind of my exact thought, is just how fast it can end the game once you get an Ascension online. Now, Thought Scour, Manamorphose, drew Faithless, which is a decent draw. Lightning Axe is also an acceptable draw here. I think I'm just going to shock and play a thing in the ice now. Life total does matter, but so does having all of your mana sources. Okay, they just fetch tapped. We'll just ship the turn back to them. Uh-oh. So they have an Ascension online now. And we have a couple choices. We can either go to cast 3 spells, or we can take another turn to set up and play the second thing. I really like playing the second thing just because I really want to try to kill them fast. And nothing kills as fast as just flipping 2 thing in the ices. Interesting. Plays Ascension, then passes. Manamorphose is a good draw here. So I think we're going to try for it. They might have a counter spell here, but like if so, we have to just try to get it out of them. If this resolves, we're just going to add double red for, yeah. I expected a Spell Pierce or something of the such. That's fine. If we hit a land next turn, we can just flip these things. Our opponent hasn't done much, but they do have this Pyromancer's Ascension, which is scary. Ascension is kind of a hedge towards wanting to play Most Surgical Faithless. Towards wanting to play extra copies of your counterspells in the sideboard for the mirror. But it seems really clunky to try to get your Ascension online with those. So it's pretty likely our opponent just gets their Ascension online this turn. They've hit most of their spells in the yard now. Yep. So we might be in trouble. We had a solid hand, but they had a Ascension hand. I think I'm just going to F6 for a second, but I'm going to keep my finger on 5. Just in case I need to do something. I don't actually have anything to do, but I don't want them to know that. Okay. So just a Phoenix. That's not that bad. We can deal with that. 7, 14. Okay. So we actually have lethal here. We actually don't because of not having a blue spell. But the Tarn gives it to us now. So I'm going to discard this Phoenix. And this Drake, I think. Oh, I already played my land this turn. Crap. Man, this island was really awkward for me. Maybe it was wrong to fetch it out. I'm really scared to give them another turn. But I don't think I really have much of a choice. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. We might just die. Because they get to have another turn. This is kind of part of the reason I'm not a huge fan of the mirror. It seems very one-sided on, like, who wins and how. Okay. So this means we're probably not dying, and we should be able to kill them on our turn. They too are on Crackling Drakes, which is good to know. So I'm going to take this hit here because I want to be able to get the Phoenix back just in case we need the extra damage. Alright, that was pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and fetch here, just getting a mountain. We're going to start with a Thought Scour on ourselves. I'm actually going to discard one of these lightning bolts because I don't want to show them Ral. Yep, and that's game 2. So as you see, these games can be very swingy. I don't really want to change anything for game 3 personally. Do you think we change anything, or do you think we just run it back? I think I was pretty happy with how our deck performed. Ral might be a little slow for this matchup in particular, but I'm not even sure if that's true because he does hit really hard when he hits. Yeah, they had it and we had it harder. So, that's kind of how this matchup goes. It's whoever can do the more degenerate thing. This hand could definitely do better things if it had any lands. So we unfortunately have to mulligan. Yeah, I mean, we have our cantrips. We have a Phoenix. Ral's a pretty good top end. They mulled to 5. This deck does want its cards in its hand, but it also has a lot of cantrips to bounce back. I think I'm actually going to bottom this Phoenix. We don't have any way to get them out of our hand yet. Guess I should have topped it. Who'd have known? I think I'm going to start by going to 17. I just don't want to get color screwed if I don't have to again. Lead on Serum. Ooh. I think I'm in the business for both of these. But I'm probably going to just fetch away the land, actually. Just play a thing in the ice next turn. Hopefully we can draw like a Morphos or a Serum Visions. So with the way my hand's shaped, I'm actually fine fetching an island because I have a lot of blue spells this time. And it shouldn't bite me in the butt. So thing in the ice versus thing in the ice. They did play theirs first, though. The play versus draw does seem somewhat relevant in this matchup, but I don't think it's the biggest thing. I still think it's bigger to have the better draw. As kind of like, duh, that sounds. Yep, they're getting back their Phoenix this turn. Hopefully they don't have another spell to flip this thing. Okay. Nope, just the Phoenix, which is fine. They have taken no damage, which is pretty good in this matchup. It's kind of hard to do. Huh. So I'd really like to get this Ascension online, but I don't think I can afford to take another turn off. I really need to try to hit another land or some way to flip my thing this turn. Okay. Milled 2 lands, drew a land, so that's a wash. I'm actually going to... We already fetched that away, so we don't know the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and Thought Scour now. Manamorphose, Lightning Axe. I would have liked both of those cards. I actually should have... Did we mill all of our mountains? Oh, this is a polluted delta. Ooh, yikes. We might just be in trouble this game, actually. Yeah. So, small sequencing error. I should have... Yeah. I guess we're not actually dead, but... we're pretty bad of a spot. If they have a bolt, I'm just dead. But I don't think I can afford to block. I need to flip my thing. Okay, that's not a bolt. We're not in a good spot. Again, our opponent had it first, and we didn't have any interaction for it. Hopefully we hit a land off this for our dispel. But I think we're both on, like, the thing in the ice plan. Ooh. I'm in for the lightning axe, not so much the crackling drake. The lightning axe can play real nice. So if he attacks, our thing in the ice, our awakened horrors just get to bounce. Okay. And then next turn I get to lightning axe their second thing down. Or if they block, I get to kill their awoken horror. One, two, and then this could potentially be 3. Hopefully they just don't have another free spell. If they do, I mean, yeah. They had the thing before I did, and I didn't have the removal spell, unfortunately. Now we lost that lightning axe. We have to chump block for... Actually, yeah, we're just dead to the Phoenix. So tough round 1. This is how the mirror goes. This is why I was kind of debating on if I actually wanted to play this deck, but nothing's felt as good as this deck has for me in Modern. And with that, let's hop back into the queue. Hopefully we'll get our next opponent. So I'm not really sure. So this is like the interesting thing with the matchup. I'm not really sure what I could have done differently. I don't know if you guys think that there was anything I could have done differently that matchup. It just seemed like they had it before I did, so that's why they got the W. They had it before I did, and I didn't have it hard enough to win through it still. Is more of an accurate description. And we have a match. Also, hello to whoever just joined Twitch chat. We won the die roll. That's awesome. Ooh. So this is a hand we're really hoping that our cantrips and faithless lootings can fix. Or we're really hoping surgical extraction's good. I am going to keep it, though. Ascension's great if we hit a second land. Hopefully surgical's good. And we have a lot of digging. This is one I wouldn't blame people for sending back, though. Alright, we drew the land like the true professional we are. And then I'm going to bottom this lightning bolt, but top this serum visions, since it can trigger our pyromancer's ascension. I'm probably just going to play ascension on 2 this game. Stomping Ground tapped, probably Dredge without a 1-drop. But that seems like an interesting keep then. I think I really need my mana to be online with this hand, so I'm just going to shock again. Even though I think my life total might be a resource. I think I'd rather just have better mana. Jund, okay. Stomping Ground tapped makes a lot of sense with Jund. So our Ascension should be very strong this game. Our Surgicals, not so much, but we'll see how this goes. That was a good draw. So let's lead on Serum Visions, get our Ascension trigger on. Thing in the Ice, I'm also down for, as it's another threat. And you just really want to max out on threats in this matchup. We are stacked on Surgicals. I think those are definitely what we're going to be discarding. And then there's merit to holding this Faithless Looting, but I think I just want to get the Ascension online. I have 2 cards I'm willing to discard. Yeah. So we're going to discard these. We have the Manamorphose now to combo. And we'll pass it back to our opponent. Like the expert Jund player they are, they take no damage off their Dark Confidant as they hit a Verdant Catacombs. And they have the Assassin's Trophy, which makes that Faithless Looting feel really awkward. But I think we're supposed to play. We're just supposed to play. I think I'm getting a mountain since I have an island in hand. We go to 12. This Dark Confidant is kind of terrifying. Not so much anymore, though. So we're going to play Thing in the Ice. Then I think we're going to go ahead and cast this Manamorphose, but we're going to make a red mana instead of a blue mana. Trigger Thing. Have Manamorphose resolve. Add red, blue. Drake's a good draw. We unfortunately can't play it this turn. And I don't want to discard anything because I want to bolt this Bob now. So I'm just going to bolt the Bob and then F6 through the rest of my turn. Let my opponent have priority. Yep, they get their mana base on. Jund was actually a deck I lost to in the Classic that I played this in. It's a very... I don't know if it's a tough matchup, but when they draw well, they draw well. Kind of like this game. They're at 5 cards in hand, we're at 1. They're at 19, we're at 12. They've just drawn answers for everything. I think I like playing the Crackling Drake. If we hit a land, we can play the Thing in the Ice. And it also just hits a lot harder. I think we are probably playing the Thing in the Ice next turn, though. Okay. So they get their choice of either the Manamorphose or the Thing in the Ice. The Morphose does its job kind of either way because it grows the Crackling Drake. So the Drake's now a 2-turn clock if they don't have a removal spell. Looks like a Lily of the Veil. Yeah. They've just kind of had it all this game. Which, I mean, is what Jund does sometimes. It's going to be tough to come back from this one. But we will do our best. I'm going to flash back a Faithless Looting here. I have not played a land this turn. And either way, because of this Lily, we're going to have to discard our card. So I think I'm just going to discard these two. Play this tapped and pass. This is like a Goif, probably. Scoo is even worse. Yeah, like, this draw's been absurd by them. Yeah, I was going to say probably just eat the looting here. Eat the looting, we draw another land, which is unfortunate. I think that probably spells the end of us. So that's just kind of one of the risks that happen is like sometimes the green-black X deck draws, you know, the perfects and you lose. The 50% deck sometimes draws better than 50%. Yep. Buy thing in the ice. Not really sure what we can draw to get out of this. We're at 3. They have 2 cards in hand. Lightning Bolt is definitely not that. Tough loss. I don't think this is that bad of a matchup, especially game 1. But, you know, it's Magic. Anything can happen. Moving on to sideboarding. Angers aren't great. I think Blood Moon is excellent. Their mana base is pretty greedy. Dragon's Claws aren't that great. Rejections don't do anything. I'm not big on the Spell Pierce and Dispel against the GBX decks. Surgical doesn't do enough. And then we have 4 more cuts. I can buy taking Ops out again. I want card selection, but at the same time, I think all of our cards are better. What do you guys think about this? How do you like this sideboarding for green-black X? For Jund, actually, not green-black X. If it was green-black, I probably wouldn't bring... I probably wouldn't bring these Blood Moons in. Oh, I actually am not the biggest Abrade fan. And so I think on that note, I'm probably going to bring back in 3 Ops and take out a Thought Scour. What do you think about this? I think we have solid removal, solid threats, good number of cantrips. Rail's a big hitter in this matchup. Yeah, I think we're going to try it like this. I would love to be on the play. I think our average 6 would look better if Manamorphose is really good at getting this Phoenix back, but if we just don't hit anything to discard it, this hand I think is much better. This hand is a land away from being able to just bring back 2 Phoenixes on 2. I think we unfortunately bottomed that rail. So I think it's correct to just lead on this Faithless looting here, because I need a land plus another spell. Ding, ding. So we're going to discard these birds and ship it back to them. Hopefully they don't have a discard spell. Okay. I guess I got. Man. Turn 1 Grafdigger's Cage, huh? Guess I get to be an idiot for boarding out of Braids. Wow. Alright, well, we keep playing on. Ascension seems great here. Yeah, I mean, I don't... They play like a one of Cage in their sideboard. I don't think I'm supposed to play around it. Their Goyf's already a 4/5. Oof. Just want to get this Ascension online. Oh, it'd be helpful if I made red mana. I think I was supposed to Thought Scour end of turn. Try to hit some more spells for this Pyromancer's Ascension. JK. It was a tactical play. I knew they'd have the trophy. Yeah, so like when you draw hot with a green-black X deck, you just don't lose to anything. But when you have a medium draw and your opponent has a slightly above medium draw, you can just lose. Not saying I don't think GBX is a good deck or anything, because I think it is, but I also think our opponent has drawn way above average. Yep, you got it, bud. I think Jund is an even, better matchup than, Green-Black Rock. Because they typically run, only 1 to 2 Assassin's Trophies. Yeah, we're just dead. Good job, opponent. You drew hotter than the sun. And that's Magic sometimes. So, starting off great with the quote-unquote best deck in Modern. We're 0-2. This is kind of my problem with the deck. This is really my problem with Modern. It just feels like nothing feels good. But you gotta move on to keep moving on, you know? I think this deck's probably felt the best out of anything. And sometimes you get nut drew. So, how's everyone in chat doing after watching me get my proverbial ass beat that game? I'm not doing too bad. Worked today, came home, had some food. Got mostly everything set up for the stream, but I forgot something. That's what the slight delay was. I'm sorry about that. I will try to be more on time and more professional as we move along. So we can't keep no lands. We can keep this, though. This hand seems fine. I don't think I'm in the business for another bolt, though. Looks like another green-black X deck. Yep. Thoughtseize is fine. Our hand doesn't really do enough yet to where Thoughtseize is effective. Hopefully they take the surgical. Yeah, I figured they wouldn't, though. Thinking the Ice is a very excellent pickup after that, though. So I think I'm going to lead Flooded Strand and pass. Leave up the option to either bolt or opt. In best of one, it's actually not correct. In best of one, it's actually set up. Is this just 8-rack? It's actually set up in best of one to give you better hands than normal. Brutality discarding Street Wraith. So some form of Death Shadow deck. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm not going to use the opt because if I drew something better, I would rather have them take the opt and then draw that card. Really, they take surgical. Interesting choice. I think we're going to just get an island and cast opt here. Not really in the business for another land. Although I would be if I knew I was drawing a Crackling Drake. Here, I think we're just going to fetch Shock. If I had a Volk, or not a Volk. If I had a Volk, my mana base would be a lot better. If I had a Scalding Tarn, I probably would have fetched Basic Mountain there. Still not 100% sure what my opponent's on. The Street Wraith tells me it's probably some form of Death Shadow deck. But Triple Swamp. Huh. I have no idea what's going on. I'll just be honest. I don't know what we're facing in the O2 bracket, but it seems cool enough. Hopefully we hit some lands. Or more cantrips. I'll take lands or cantrips. Looting, not quite a cantrip, but works good enough here. There we go. I think I'm down to just flip this thing, which unfortunately means I have to discard both Crackling Drakes. But I think I like that more. We're still a land off from the Crackling Drake anyways. Bounce your 5/5 back, bolt you. I'm going to hit them for 7. Like, they might just play a Death Shadow, but I don't know if they're a cycling deck because, well, yeah, like, they seem like a cycling deck, but what's up with everything else? They definitely enjoy hopping on their bicycle. But I don't know what they're riding towards. I'm not quite sure their payoff. Another Tasker, another Delve Threat's pretty good. It is just a chump blocker here, though. We're going to go ahead and flash back a Faithless, though, since we have 2 lands. And the lands will keepeth a-comin'. So we're not going to play anything. We're just going to attack. I'm going to hold this land since we have another looting in the yard. And I don't really think there's much I'm going to bolt now that I can't bolt on their turn. So they just seem like a turbo delve deck almost. Interesting. Not quite sure what's going on. But they sure do like to delve. Well, that was pretty good. That should be all they wrote. Alright, and we're up a game against the Lance Armstrong deck, I'm going to call it. They appear to like cycling. Ral seems good in this matchup. Angers and Blood Moons do not. Braids do not. Ascension might be fine. Dragon's Claw does not seem good. Rejection doesn't seem good. Maybe they're a Hollow One deck. So maybe a Braid's not awful. I could see them being a Hollow One deck, actually. Spell Pierce and Dispel still don't seem that strong. Surgical seems weird, so I don't really know how I feel about it. And I think I'm going to actually bring these Braids back in the hedge that they're... that they play Hollow One. Because the more I'm thinking about it, the more that's one of the only few cards that seem to make sense in my head right now. Maybe they're like a mono black Hollow One deck. Definitely interesting. So I'm going to throw these cards up here again. Feel free to comment if you think there's anything I should change about it. I'm not really sure what our opponent's on, but Angers don't seem great. They seem like they have a lot of bigger dudes. They only fetched and played Swamp, so I don't assume the Blood Moons are great. Same with the Dragon's Claws. I feel comfortable trimming cantrips for Abrades, as Hollow One is really one of the only payoffs I can really think of. I don't know if you guys can think of any other payoff for their deck that maybe warrants me bringing something in. And then I feel like they filled their graveyard so fast Surgical probably isn't worth it. So with all that being said, I think we're just going to submit like this. Against Hollow One, I'd normally have the Angers in instead of Rails, but I'm not really sure if they have small creatures based off what I've seen. It would seem somewhat hard to... This hand seems great. It would seem somewhat hard to be a Bloodghast deck and also have all of those Delve cards in your deck. So there's Bauble. So yeah, it is looking like a turbo cycling deck. A Nile Spellbomb, you say? And back to us. Sad that we draw a Phoenix when they have a Spellbomb, but our hand isn't really looking at the Phoenix right now. Might just be a castable threat. I really want this land, but not so much this Lightning Bolt. I could have very well trimmed a Lightning Bolt instead of a cantrip. That could have maybe been correct, but I think I just like having Lightning Bolts in my deck when I have Pyromancer's Ascension. Although seeing this doesn't really stop Ascension that much, but could maybe be a reason to at least trim a Lightning Bolt for a cantrip for it. And Damping Sphere. Just all the hate. Definitely glad I put a Braid in the deck. So we draw that island. We're going to play this Flooded Strand and just pass it back. Three swamps is all you need. I think we're just going to fetch tapped here. We can Manamorphose and cast any threat we might draw. Maybe if I float red mana. One day I'll float red mana first. So we're just kind of cycling this, kind of like what they do. We're just cycling. We drew a bolt here, which doesn't do a whole lot. I think we're actually just going to pass it back again. We dug deeper into our deck, so it's never a bad thing. We'll eventually find some form of threat that we can deal with or cast. We might even just be casting an Arclight Phoenix on our turn. Maybe 2 for 1-ing something that they play. Well then. That's one I don't quite know how we can beat. Their deck doesn't... Nothing in their deck adds up. Other than they really want to beat Phoenix. Is all I can, like, comprehend. Huh. I guess we try to race it? I don't think that's the play. I'm no expert, but I don't think that's the play. I ain't in for it. How about this? If I think I'm going to lose the game, I will flame slash it if you subscribe. Sound fair? Hit that sub button and I'll put all the spells into this thing. I would not tank the match because I would like to get tickets. But I'll definitely have some fun and throw some spells at this thing. What you got now? A Sassiger. The thing, which doesn't bounce this. I'm going to play a thing in the ice and pass. Subscribe. You get to see a lightning bolt and a flame slash hit a Phyrexian Obliterator. First and probably only time you'd get to see that. Brutal. Nah. Should have subscribed. I would have done it. I'll still flame slash it for a subscribe. Unless they take the flame slash, then I can't. But then they're bullies. And nobody likes a bully opponent. Like this guy. This guy's a bully. Nobody likes him. He's rude. Look at him. He doesn't play nice on the playground. He's that guy that on the playground just kind of shoves everyone around and is just like, get out of my way. I'm like, but I was here at the swings first. And they're like, I don't care. No, only me? Fair. I suspect an attack for 9. Wow. Guess what, opponent? I'm not scared. I won't block. So if we can kill the Tassiger, I might actually kill the Obliterator. Oh, I didn't process. Big sads. Wonder why it didn't go through. I gotta be a man of the word. So. No, I was trying to see if I could find it somewhere. I definitely believe you. And I will honor what I say. I don't think I've ever flame slashed a Phyrexian Obliterator before, but there's a time for everything. Oh no, I left a blue mana open. I'm so sad. I actually lost this game now. I could have had a chance. Okay. I know, I'm sad. I wanted to hit it again. Well. Put F's in the chat. What do we do against a Phyrexian Obliterator, guys? Anyone? Bueller? Well, that's not what I wanted it to do, but it works. Mono Black Delve Obliterator. Do we have to get cheeky to try to win this match? Like, I'm thinking almost Thought Scour our opponent to try to surgical extract Phyrexian Obliterator. Is that crazy? So, like, these bolts just seem awful. And I'm in for trying to get a little bit of lucky. Do you have a better idea of forecast? I don't, unfortunately. I'm fresh out of ideas on how to deal with Phyrexian Obliterators. Sure, a braid seems awful. I'll give you that. If they hollow one me, I'll be big sads. Is Ascension still worth it now that we've seen how much like graveyard hate and whatnot? Actually, no. I want a braids for Damping Spheres still. Oh no, I want Lightning Axe. Lightning Axe, get back. Get back, get back, get back. Relax, relax. Whoa, I play more Modern than you. That's fair. I play more Modern than probably the normal person should. I guess we're going to try this. Yeah. I don't know if this is correct, but oh no, I also play League of Legends Team Forecast. So, oh, the foil skins in Arena. I drop a lot of money on skins in League of Legends, though. I mean, I'm going to keep this, but it doesn't have an answer to an Obliterator. Maybe we can find the answer. Am I crazy if I keep this surgical? I think I'm going to do it, and I'm going to hope I get really, really lucky. Because I don't know. I don't know how we win otherwise. Hey, Chuck, what's up, man? I'm glad to see you in chat. I agree. Hopefully we will yeet the Phyrexian Obliterators out of their deck. Because otherwise, Phyrexian Obliterator yeets me. Oh, no! We can't surgical them now. They found out our plan. Big sads. You know, just getting my butt kicked in Modern. I mean, oh, that's so awkward. Fine, I'll Thought Scour myself. Haha, we have the Destroy It for it. But we milled over good cards, which makes me sad. Good old Phyrexian Obliterator in Modern. Have you truly played Modern until you face a Phyrexian Obliterator? That's the real question. It's not bad. We're going to lead on this. Reason being, I probably want whatever I ditch with Faithless Looting. Most likely it'll be a surgical. That plan was cute. I don't know if it's right or not, but I don't know if it's wrong. Mountain, and let's do the Loot, Scoot, and Boogie. I'm fine getting rid of one of these lands. I think it'll just be the fetch. Get rid of Surgical Fetch. They're going to cycle. In the words of DJ Khaled, another one. Another one. I'm so glad I burned it in Surgical Extraction. Ree! Oh, man. Modern's fun. That's not bad. Alright, so we're going to play our land tapped. We're then going to pass the turn back. We're going to play it cool. We're going to pretend we don't know what's going on. Then we're going to get rid of their Tassigers. And then we'll know if we're going to be dead to Obliterators in a couple turns. Discard this is land. Got him. Haha, and they don't have another Delve threat? Get him. They don't have an Obliterator because they didn't play it. Hopefully they don't have a Fatal Push. If they do, we might just play it cool. Try to get them to fetch first. They have Cast Down. And they only play 2 Tassigers, apparently. What is their deck? So they have Cast Downs, Brutalities, a Damping Sphere, Baubles, 4 Nile Spell Bombs, 4 Fatal Pushes, 4 Gurmags, 4 Hero or Horror of the Broken Lands, 4 Phyrexian Obliterators, 4 Scarab Feasts, and a Victim of the Night. I don't know how I'm supposed to ever win, but we're going to try. Oh, it doesn't write down their hand. Awesome. I know it's 3 lands. And a Cast Down. We're going to flashback Faithless. I don't know what we're trying to find or accomplish, but hopefully we'll find and or accomplish it. I think the answer is another threat. I'm not 100% sure what our opponent's deck is expecting to beat on a regular basis. But Phoenix might be it. No, we milled over a Ral and a thing and just drew a land. It's the opposite of what I wanted. Okay, so I guess we're going to play this Crackling Drake to cycle. Even though we just know it's going to die. Because I think we're on the Ascension plan now. Yep. He's dead, Jim. Another one! Man, the DJ Khaled quotes are up in here today. Up in here, up in here. DJ Khaled quotes are up in here, up in here. Sorry for all the folks at home that just had to listen to that. So now we hope they don't have another removal spell, and we get to Drake them. Or we play 2/2 drops. We're going to try to bait them. We're going to try to bait the removal spells. Alright, he's popping Spellbomb. It's fine. Didn't need that graveyard anyways, opponent. Yeah, I did. Didn't need that graveyard. So my first guess of Hollow Ones, by the way, was wrong. I feel like their deck would probably be even a little bit more better with Hollow Ones. See, we baited a Fatal Push out. Now they can't push the Drake. Big brain. We're trying. We're trying our best, guys. I believe in us. They know what we're drawing, though. They're in our head. They knew we were drawing that mountain. But did they know that we had another one? It's going to die, isn't it? You're going to make me big sads? You're going to make me big sads. Oh, no, that's a cycle. You're not going to make me? Oh, you're going to make me big. Oh, that's another cycle. Alright, so you're saying there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Take a chance on me. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Listen, guys. There's a chance. Okay. Spellbomb's fine. It's not a kill spell. It could be anything, though. It could even be a boat. What do you guys think? Do you think Spellbomb's going to be a boat? Who thinks the Spellbomb's going to be a boat? Make some noise in chat if you think Spellbomb's going to be a boat. What was it? Please no. Please? Please don't be a removal spell. One time. Did we board in? Okay, we didn't board in counter spells. Can't hope for those if it is. Please? Please, Crackling Drake, live, please? 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 Okay, he didn't choose the discard mode, so we're gonna hold this Metamorphose for a second. Please no. Please no second brutality. Big sads in the chat. Just what we wanted. Big sad energy, I agree. Well, we're going to float a black to scare him. Listen, sometimes we get punished for trying to scare people. Alright, I don't know what we're digging to, but those get us somewhere. One, two, three, 1, 2. We still have islands in our deck. I'll play this out. I just need my opponent to not do exactly what they're doing. We were so close! I just needed the Drake to live. But if we draw a Lightning Axe, we can kill the Obliterator, sack 5 permanents, and... What am I supposed to do, chat? Like... I don't think I'm playing bad. Nothing against our opponent. I don't think their deck's good. But we're still just gonna get shit on. I guess sometimes you get shit on. Well, we have Ascension online. This is going to single-handedly be the worst feeling thing I've ever done in my life. But I think it's the correct play. Someone better clip this, by the way. Because tell me another person that would have had to have done that. They have a land in hand. We have one land. And they have a 5/5. I'm not saying our chances are good, but I'm giving me the best chance I can. How many lightning bolts do I have? I have 0 lightning bolts. And all I want is a bolt right now. We have 2 turns to hopefully get out from this. Alright! You're saying there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. I don't think it's big. I don't even know how many lands I have left in my deck. I don't know if I have red mana. 1, 2, 3. I have, like, maybe 2 red sources left in my deck. I'm doing everything I can. And it's just not good enough. I don't know what you want from me, opponent. I just wanted to win some tickets. Alright. We need a removal spell. One time. Any justice in this world. No justice. Sometimes they get you. Well, I don't even know what to say. Welcome to Modern. I hope you all have a great night.